Hello again, students. This is your flipped vocabulary lesson for Storytown Lesson 25. For this activity, you will need your vocab sheet, a pen or a pencil, and optionally a highlighter. You can print off another copy of the vocab sheet from my website if you lost yours. Once you've got all your materials together, let's get started. As always, the directions are here. First, you will watch and listen to this presentation on your own. Feel free to pause and go back as needed. Then, write the definition or meaning of each word on your vocab sheet. And finally, write a brief response to each question that goes along with the vocabulary word. Let's take a look at word number 1 for this week. Here it is, aggravate. Aggravate is a verb when it's used in a sentence. You may have heard this word before and described a sibling as aggravating. In that case, when you make it the present participle and add the ing to the verb, you can use the word aggravating as an adjective, just like other present participles. Let's take a look at the meaning. Aggravate means when you make a problem worse or more serious. So here's how you can use aggravate in a sentence. If you have an injury, you can aggravate it by using the body part before it is healed. Now let's think about this word in another sense. What is something that aggravates you when you're trying to finish your work? Write your answer on your vocab sheet. The next word this week is conspicuous. We can tell right away that conspicuous is an adjective because it ends with the OUS suffix. Adjectives are describing words, and here's the definition. Something that is obvious or stands out. You can use conspicuous in a sentence like this. It was so conspicuous that the students were passing notes that the teacher had no choice but to collect it from them. Now, think about this question. What is an antonym for conspicuous? Remember, an antonym is an opposite word. Good luck and write it on your vocab sheet. Third, we have the word imposing. Imposing is the present participle of the verb impose, and remember that present participles can be used as adjectives. Of course, this also can be used as a verb or action word in the sentence. The definition of imposing is something that is very impressive, maybe because of its size or power. So, some mountain climbers feel that Mount Everest is imposing because it is the tallest peak on Earth. Now answer this question. What is an imposing building that you know of? Write your response on your vocab sheet. The next word this week is notable. Notable also ends with a common adjective suffix, able. So yes, notable is a describing word when it's used in a sentence. Notable means something that stands out so that you will notice it. So, for example, you could use the word like this. My mom wrote all my notable firsts in my baby book as I was growing up. Now think about this kind of silly question. Why would a talking monkey be notable? Write your response on your vocab sheet. The next word on the list this week is kind of fun to say. This is ornery. Ornery is an adjective or describing word, and it means someone who is irritable and moody. So you might hear this word ornery in a sentence like this. The old man was so ornery, he was always telling the neighbor kids to get off of his lawn. How would an ornery person act? Write your response on your vocab sheet. Here's our next word, overwhelming. This is probably a word you've heard before. Overwhelming is a verb, but when we add ing, we have the present participle that can be used as an adjective or a verb. So this word could be a describing word or an action word, depending on the sentence. Overwhelming means something that is so strong, large, or amazing that it overpowers you. Here's an example. The student was absent for a week, and the amount of homework he got was overwhelming. Now think about it in a different sense. What would be an overwhelming sight? Write your answer on your vocab sheet. Here's our next word, pillaged. Pillaged is usually used as a verb, although sometimes you will hear pillaged used as an adjective, since of course we can use the past participle as an adjective as well. Here's what pillaged means: when something is looted or stolen. So you might hear the word pillaged used in a sentence like this: when the army came through the area, they pillaged the area for the things they needed. What would you call someone who pillages a house? Write your answer on your vocab sheet. Our next word is prosperous, and again, we can already tell it's an adjective because it has that common adjective suffix, ous. Adjectives are describing words. Prosperous means when someone is successful, usually with money or belongings. We can use the word prosperous like this: many cities and towns along trade routes become prosperous. Now think about this. Where might a prosperous person live? You can write your answer or maybe even draw a picture on your vocab sheet. The next word on our list is sophisticated. Sophisticated is usually used as an adjective, although it is the past participle of the verb sophisticate, so you can sometimes hear it used as a verb. Usually, it's a describing word, though. Sophisticated means something that is complex or advanced, or that you need a great deal of knowledge to understand. So let's look at how we can use sophisticated in a sentence. Many people who are knowledgeable about art or classical music sound very sophisticated to others. Now, let's look at this word in a slightly different sense. What is an example of sophisticated technology? Write your answer or draw a picture on your vocab sheet. Here's our final word for the week, unassuming. Unassuming is used as an adjective or describing word in a sentence. Unassuming means someone who is modest or humble. Here's how we can use it. The police officer was so unassuming that you would have never known that he saved the little boy's life. What would an unassuming person not do? Think about it and write your response on your vocab sheet. We've come to the end once again, so here's a review of what's next. Go back to review any words you do not understand. Please highlight or circle any words you still have questions about, and we will discuss them in class. Then, be ready to play a review game in class using these words. You will read and understand stories that use these vocabulary words in your guided reading groups and in our textbook. Then, you will use each word in an original sentence, and this will be your end-of-week quiz. Make sure you have your assignment completed on time and turned in by the due date, and we will see you next week.